welcome to the Cool Story Bry Podcast. My name is Bryan McConnell. Today I'm here with my girlfriend Kristen once again.
Hey.
And if you listened to the previous episode, it was kind of a negative birthing story, which we'll go into, but we learned today to no longer do that. So no longer let any negative stories into your life. And like I said, we'll go into that later. But first, I wanted to start off with what we did yesterday. We went to my high school homecoming. Well, the town is called Stratton, and that's also the name of the high school. And yeah, every year around September, sometime in September, they have a homecoming, which for some people, do some people not know what a homecoming is?
I'm pretty sure everyone knows if you went to high school, you know what homecoming is.
Okay.
Yeah.
I just wanted to make sure, because I've heard some people say that they can put the words home and coming together and make up their own definition. But I think I've heard some people who say that they've never been a part of one or never even really experienced one. Mm-hmm. But yeah, it's just basically the alumni gets together, or everyone gets together in their town or whatever at their high school and just gets together and talks. It's pretty typical what happens.
Right. It's supposed to be like the alumni coming
home
back. Right. Coming back to kind of celebrate
their reunion.
Right. The new school year or whatever for the other kids.
And this was my 10-year.
Right.
My 10-year high school reunion. And when we first arrived, the town has a little parade. Mm-hmm. And there's tractors and floats and some
people
military.
On horseback.
Yeah, military men walking with the flags. Mm-hmm. There's usually a band, but our high school band has never been good.
Yeah.
So there was no band this year. And yeah, they have floats, and all of the previous alumni of specific years have their own floats. So since this is 2016, they had like the 50-year class have their own float, and then the 25-year class, and then we were the 10-year class, and no one got together. We didn't do anything. There was no float for us at all. But I told you when we first arrived, I was like, I might have to run out there and actually hop on a float.
Yeah.
But no float went by. So that's how organized our class is. Maybe in another 15 years we'll have one for our 25. But so yeah. Anyway, it was a cute little parade. And I remember telling you on the drive there, your daughter was in the back seat, and I was more talking to your daughter. I was like, yeah, and they throw candy. And you looked at me and you go, they throw candy?
Yeah, I got real excited for the candy. Because I've never been to a parade where they throw candy. So.
Yeah. It was a nice little parade. And then let's see what was after. We went to my grandma's house, and we gathered the eggs from the chickens, and the little one got to feed the cows, and she loved that. Yeah. And she got to see the horse. I loved when she was feeding the cows, because she was scared at first. Right. And this one cow, who was the only one who was hogging all of the food that she had in her hand.
That cow was not shy at all.
Had like a foot-long tongue. Its tongue stuck out a good foot, and it would lick her hand every once in a while, and she'd like freak out. It was just really cute.
Yeah, I think it's so funny when they get freaked out, but they want to do it again.
Oh yeah. 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 Which is a good sign. Yeah. And Grandma told me a story. She has one horse named RT, and this horse is very old. And she was telling me that recently.
Well, how old is it?
34 years. 34-year-old horse.
That's really old for a horse.
Yeah, I don't know what the maximum age for a horse is, but yes, that's very old. And she was telling me that one day she saw the sheriff drive in her driveway and then drive down to the down to the crop, and then there was nowhere to go from there because it's a crops, or not a crop circle, but one of those plots of land that they I don't know. Anyway.
So he just drove around on her property for a little bit?
Yeah. And then came back to her house and said, look, ma'am, I hate to do this to you, but we got to report that you're not taking care of your horse. And she basically stated, no, we give him 2 buckets of oats a day. He has free access to all the hay that he wants. Mm-hmm. And he happens to be 34 years old.
Right.
So I think it's really nice that someone was concerned about the well-being of this horse, mm-hmm. but they also don't know the full story. That horse has been there for a long freaking time.
Yeah, which is weird because that town is so small. You'd think that everybody knows your grandma and that she's had that horse forever.
Everyone does know my grandma.
Right. So
yeah, I don't know. It was just a little sad. And then we went to the park, and there was, it's pretty neat because every year someone donates a whole bunch of beef for the barbecue at the park, and mm-hmm. everyone gets a sandwich, and all of this food is free. It's like $1 for a can of soda though.
Right.
So,
right.
And then you donate as you please. I just think it's really cool because it gives you, it's a really nice sense of community when you go from the big city, drive 2 hours mm-hmm. to the middle of nowhere, and then you're given free food and you're communicating with all your past friends and loved ones. And
right.
And where was I going with that? Oh yeah. I went to the bathroom, and mm-hmm. when I came back, I was looking for you, and you happened to be on the playground spinning like 13 kids on a merry-go-round.
Oh yeah, those merry-go-rounds. Yeah, you don't see those anymore
I know.
At the playgrounds.
I used to spin on that thing all the time when I was a kid.
Yeah, I used to love those things.
It's all dented now. It looks like
it looks like all like cattywampus and stuff.
Ham cake. It looks like a pancake that was like broken in half, and half the hemisphere was just dangling off and grinding in the sand. But I just thought it was so cute that a woman who's 5 months pregnant, is clearly showing, is running in circles, spinning these kids as fast as she possibly can.
Yeah, I love those things when I was a kid, and I always wanted someone to spin it really, really fast. So I was like, I'm going to spin this thing as fast as I can.
It's funny, when I was a kid and we were on one of those things, I was thinking, I can't wait till the future comes, because then they're going to have ones that automatically spin. Like power, energy generated ones that automatically do the work. But no, not anymore. It's not going to happen.
Well, like I said, you don't even see them anymore mm-hmm. on playgrounds now that they build now. So
then we went to the football game. They postponed it for rain, which they never used to do either. What the hell? Actually, it was for lightning. They postponed it for lightning, which is understandable. But they switched it. They recently switched from 8-man football down to 6-man football because they don't have enough kids in this town to stick with 8-man. And we joined
that was interesting to watch.
Yeah, and we joined up with another town nearby. So it's like 2 towns joined together because neither one of them had enough kids to play 8-man, mm-hmm. and still they can only play 6-man. But I loved it because every time we looked at the scoreboard, it had gone up by like 20 points for the home team. So the first time I looked, it was like 13-0, and then it was like 23-0, and then next it was like 44-0.
Right. And one of your friends was saying that a first down was 15 yards.
Yeah, and 6-man, the field is only 80 yards long.
Right.
And like you said, each first down is 15 yards.
Yeah, I thought that was pretty cool.
The quarterback, I believe, cannot run unless he pitches or hands off.
Oh, really?
The ball. Yeah, and he referred to it, this friend that you're talking about referred to it as full contact track, which is pretty much what it is.
Yeah, I didn't hear him say that. Yeah,
I loved that because if you've ever watched a 6-man game, it's pretty much just one person gets a breakaway and then scores a touchdown. And then 11-man is kind of, it's not quite like that. It's gain a few yards, hopefully get a first down, and then just keep doing that. So you're grinding your way down the field in 11-man. In 6-man, you get down the field and are constantly racking up the score. And then the reason why I loved 8-man when I was in high school mm-hmm. is because it seemed to be the middle ground of that. Like every once in a while you'd get a breakaway, but sometimes it was also a grind. Mm-hmm. So it was the perfect middle ground in my opinion.
Yeah, that's cool.
So yeah, speaking of, his name is Scott. Speaking of talking with Scott, I loved talking with him and his wife, Amy, because I didn't tell you this, but at a previous homecoming, I believe like 3 years ago, I had ran into him and I was like, "Hey Scott, how's it going?" And I was very depressed at the time. I had a girl just break up with me prior to that. And he was like, "Oh, nothing much. This is my girlfriend, Amy." And he introduced me to Amy. And I don't know if he remembers this or not, but he seemed pretty positive yesterday when he spoke with him. Mm-hmm. But, yeah, I had said something along the lines of, yeah, just enjoy it while you can, because it might not last.
Right in front of his girlfriend?
Yeah.
Wow, you were down, huh?
Oh man. Well, I was telling both of them, I was like, yeah, just enjoy this moment while you can, because you guys are happy now, but it's all going to go to shit later. Cut to 3 years later when we're having this really good conversation with them and they're talking about their 2 great kids and how happy they are in their relationship. I don't know. So yeah, that's what depression can do to you. So no negative thoughts, no negative communication. And that's what we learned. What was your favorite part about homecoming? This was your first time at a small town that had a big...
I was surprised at how many kids there were. I mean, okay, no offense, your town is tiny. Like, there's one stoplight, and I don't even think you can consider that a light, like a regular stoplight, because there's only one light as opposed to the 3.
Yeah, it's just... like, it's just one red light blinking on one side.
Right, it's one red light blinking.
And then I think on the other side, it's like one yellow light.
Yeah.
So
that's how small this town is. So I'm thinking, okay, homecoming, this will be interesting. I thought it was mostly going to be adults, but there were a ton of kids there, which was awesome because we had my daughter with us.
Your little one, yeah.
Yeah, and so she was able to play with some random kids and... Yeah. That was fun.
It's got to be rough being an only child at the age of 3.5.
Yeah.
Well, she won't be much longer.
Right.
Which is where you can turn the podcast off because we're going to get into baby talk now.
Don't tell them that.
No, some people will find it interesting, but yeah, I don't want to make this podcast strictly about babies, but that happens to be what's happening in my life right now. So I'm going to be reporting on that quite a bit. And who knows, you can learn something.
Right. This stuff is interesting.
I actually am really liking it. And I know I'm pretty biased because I have to like it, but I've always wanted to be a father. And I've always been a big proponent of positive thinking. I mean, there's a reason why a lot of doctors will try prescribing a placebo prior to prescribing an actual medication. It's because our brain is a lot more intricate than we happen to believe most of the time.
Yeah.
So yeah, positive thoughts.
Right. I also like talking about this stuff because we get so many wrong messages from the media, from movies and TVs and magazines, and they make you think being pregnant is all hunky-dory and, oh, you're glowing and everything's so nice, and then baby comes out and now you're one big happy family. And so that's why I like talking about this, to debunk some of those myths and things that you get fed that aren't true.
And then on the other side of that, you get people constantly talking about negative birth stories that happened with them, just like we did on the last episode.
Yeah, well, and that's why I had said I didn't really want to talk about this because it's a negative story. I'm
glad we got it out of the way, though. I'm glad we still recorded it. It's still something that happened in your life.
Right.
And there's still lessons to be learned there. We're definitely trying really hard to correct it the second time around. So, yeah, today we had our first birthing class. I guess you'd call it a birthing class. Yeah. With a company called Hypno Babies. And they don't hypnotize babies or anything like that. It is geared around the idea of positive thinking and hypnotizing not only the woman that's pregnant, but also her partner into relaxing and breathing correctly during the whole birthing process.
Right. And I want to talk about the word hypnosis, because again, people typically think of the pendulum swinging in front of your face, and when I snap my fingers, you're gonna do this, and that's
Cluck
not what
cluck like a chicken.
Cluck like a chicken, yeah. But that's not what hypnosis is. It's all hypnosis is self-hypnosis, and it's basically a super deep meditative state.
Mm-hmm.
So,
yes.
Yeah, you can't be hypnotized if you don't want to be hypnotized.
Yes. I loved what she was saying about all of that.
Right.
She made a very good point of stating that you have to be very open to the idea of all of this, because any sort of negative thought is just going to completely drown out all of the positive.
Yeah.
So I really enjoyed the terminology differences that she wanted us to practice.
Mm-hmm.
There's certain terminology that is more positive to use than what
like
we're used
too.
to.
Mm-hmm.
And I'll just go over some of them now. So if you're ever around a pregnant lady, try not to use these negative terms. Try to use the more positive terms. In fact, just leave the poor lady alone.
Right.
No, but yeah, I'll just go over some of these terms that we learned today. So instead of labor or delivery, this states to use the term birthing, just regular birthing.
Right.
Or instead of like a baby being delivered, a baby is born, which makes sense. She said delivery is for pizzas, not for babies.
Right. Yeah, I always hated that term. It's kind of like when couples say, we're pregnant. It's like, no, bitch, I'm pregnant. I hate when people do that.
So yeah. What else? What was I going to say before? You were onto something, and I was going to say something. Anyway, the next term, contractions. They're not contractions. They're birthing waves. What was the other term that they had?
Pressure waves.
They use pressure a lot. Pain is a very bad word. Use discomfort instead. Right. Due date. I've always hated due date. I've always thought due date was a stupid term anyway.
Yeah, me too.
I'm glad we don't have to use that one anymore. It's called a guess. Well, they call it a guess date. I don't even want to call it that. Because I liked what you said today in class. Why don't you just go ahead and share it? Yeah,
so I like this guess date stuff as well, because people ask you, oh, what's your due date? And I reply, oh, it's January. And then their next response is, well, what day?
Which I found out they're only right 5% of the time anyway.
Correct, yes. When someone gives you a due date, the chances of the baby being born on that actual day is 5%.
Which still seems really high. But yeah, anyway, they're just taking an educated guess. I liked when she said that, the instructor said that there's a 5 week window?
Correct. Yes.
Between like
5 week
from
window.
the day that they give you. So the day that they give you, it could be 5 weeks prior to that your baby's born, or it could be up to 5 weeks post.
Yeah, I think she said once you reach 37 weeks is that 5 week.
So once you reach 37 weeks, be ready to give birth to a baby.
Once you reach 37 weeks, you could have the baby tomorrow or 5 weeks from then.
Oh, okay.
So, but yeah, I mean, I think generally people can give birth at 37 weeks or at 42 weeks.
Wow.
43 weeks.
Okay. So yeah, fuck due date.
Yeah.
Just like earlier, labor is, instead of going into labor, it's birthing time. So you're going into birthing time.
Right. It's my birthing time.
And then I liked this one. Instead of fetus, it's baby. Despite whether or not it's inside or outside of you, it's still a baby.
Right.
That's just very positive. So, yeah. Positive thoughts. No negative birth stories. We actually learned a technique to put our hand out and say, stop. We don't want to hear this anymore. We don't want to hear this story anymore.
Yeah. I'm going to change the subject now or something like that.
It was really cute.
Yeah.
And then we learned a whole bunch of different meditative practices, which I've always been a fan of.
Yeah.
Meditating's very, very positive. And I don't know about you, but after we got done today, I felt happier. I felt healthier as we were walking down the street to go
Yeah, I felt great.
As we were walking down the street to go get lunch, I felt like colors were brighter and more vibrant. It was almost as if I'd taken some sort of hallucinogen or something along those lines.
Yeah.
Man, I imagine yoga does the same thing. I need to start getting into yoga.
It does. Yeah, there's part of yoga is you do a little meditation session at the end of it.
So back in 2009, I first started experimenting with what's called binaural beats. Now, for those of you who do not know what binaural beats are, it's basically an audio. It's an audio format that you listen to, and you have to be wearing your earbuds or headphones when listening to it, because one frequency is played in one ear and a different frequency is played in the other ear. Now, when your brain is hearing two different frequencies from two different sides, it either it tries to make sense of what's going on. So it'll try to line up those two frequencies. And in the process of that, as far as I know, I'm not very good at explaining this, but as far as I know, your brain will basically create a third frequency. And then that third frequency is a frequency that's known to occur in deep, deep meditative states. So it's kind of like a neat little shortcut to reaching these deep meditative states. And I had experimented with this, like I said, back in 2009. And as soon as I had started getting to the point where I could reach deep meditative states, I had to start getting ready for college graduation. And I put all that off. And it was probably one of the biggest mistakes I've ever made, because I miss doing it. I still meditate every once in a while, but it wasn't like it was back then, where I would meditate for an hour every night for how many ever months. And so we're practicing now with binaural beats, meditating every night for God knows how long, based on all of the information that we got today. We got booklets upon booklets and MP3s upon MP3s that we have to listen to.
Yep, and you have scripts that you have to read to me.
Oh yeah, I'm going to record that after we're done here.
Yeah, I'm excited for that.
I won't release that one. Sorry, guys. Another technique that we learned. Do you want to explain the finger drop technique?
Oh, yeah. So we learned this technique called the finger drop technique that basically they use it as like a light switch. So like when you drop your finger, you're turning off your body, basically. You're not supposed to move at all. And it's a way to induce what they call hypnoanesthesia.
Yeah, that's right.
And if you need to move, that's fine, but you have to turn your switch back on by lifting up your finger. And they also want you to
count to three
and open your eyes as well. So you start off with your eyes open, you drop your finger and close your eyes. And then when you're ready to come out, you lift up your finger and open your eyes.
Counting down from 3 first, prior to that.
Right.
So 3, 2, 1. Lift up your finger and open your eyes.
Right.
And then you can move around until you get back into another comfortable position. And then once you're back in that comfortable, God, I can't talk today. But yeah, once you're back in that comfortable position, I swear. Okay. Anyway.
You stick with comfy.
Yeah. You go on. Continue.
Yeah, I mean, that's pretty much it. And then you're supposed to start off doing it for short periods of time and then slowly increase the time that you're in this state. But yeah, like I said, it's supposed to, I think it's a way to cope with pain. So like if you're in a lot of pain, you you turn your body off.
Mm-hmm.
You turn the switch off, and it becomes discomfort.
It's still it's still discomforting.
You still feel something, right? You still feel something, but it's not painful.
Yes, which I really liked, because she said when you get things like epidurals and medical anesthetics, you don't feel anything at all. So it just takes all of the feeling away. And that includes the positive feelings and the negative feelings. It just,
right.
So rather than doing that, Hypnobabies prefers that you instead,
Sorry.
it's all right, that you instead just try to turn your body off so that you can still feel things, but just hopefully mitigate the painful sensations or the discomforting sensations.
Yeah. And I like that, because in my opinion, I think pain is a learned experience. Now I know the medical world will say, oh, well, pain is there so that you know something's wrong. But I honestly think it's something learned. I don't think things need to be painful. It's like, when a toddler or a baby's learning how to walk, and they're walking and they fall down. And if the parents go, oh my gosh, and run over, the kid will start to cry. But if you completely ignore them, they'll just get right back up and keep going.
Mm-hmm. I've seen that on numerous occasions.
Yeah.
It's definitely true.
Yeah, absolutely. I've seen it with my own kid and watching other parents and how they deal with their kids, and the parents that go, oh my gosh, their kids cry.
So when you're around other people's kids, try not to react. Try not to. The music kicked on right at that moment, and I was like, "Oh my god!" I was like a toddler that fell down, and the inner side of me was like, "Oh my god, are you okay?" So yeah, when you're around other people's kids, just try not to react too drastically when something happens, such as they fall or one of them, I don't know. I don't even have kids yet. I probably shouldn't be giving this kind of advice. I'll let you do that.
No, I agree with that though. Yeah, so the best reaction is no reaction. But my point of that was that pain is a learned experience. And so with this finger drop technique, we're trying to basically unlearn the experience of pain and experience it as discomfort and pressure.
We're basically trying to retrain everything we've learned up until this point and take all of those bad folders in our subconscious and delete them and create a new folder of positive stuff in our subconscious.
Yeah.
And by folders, I mean, think of your brain as like a computer. Yeah, the class was really nice. This was their first one. We have 5 more to go.
It was really cool. I totally recommend it for everyone. I mean, it's great. It's, even if you don't believe in hypnosis, the classes itself are really informative and very relaxing.
Very relaxing.
Yeah.
I felt amazing. And it's going to get me back into meditating again, which I'm really excited for.
Yeah. And I've been wanting to meditate, add that more into my routine, so.
Yeah, sadly, the number one reason why people don't meditate is because of their excuse is lack of time.
Yeah.
But I think it's something that you have to make time for. And when you do, other things will start to improve in your life, rather than just the way you feel and the way you look at the world. So yeah, anyway, thanks for listening to the Cool Story Bry Podcast. Feel free to subscribe on YouTube. Follow me on Twitter. It's at Cool Story Bry. Does anyone use Twitter anymore? I don't know. I have 1 follower.
I don't have a Twitter account.
And then when this gets up on iTunes, feel free to leave an iTunes review as well. Send me an email. I love email. It's nice and personal, one-on-one. It's Cool Story Bry Podcast at gmail.com. Anyway, thanks.